Casio. For this year's film, the SHRM Foundation traveled to Bethesda, Maryland, to the National Institutes of Health. About 7.5% of the world's population is currently age 65 or older. At the national level, that figure varies from under 7% in India, Egypt, Colombia, Mexico, and Vietnam, to more than 20% in Italy, Germany, and Japan. In the US and Canada, it is about 13 and 14% respectively. Particularly in developed nations, some organizations have made special efforts to attract and retain workers over 50. One organization that does this quite well is the National Institutes of Health. In the long history of the SHRM Foundation's film series, this is the first public sector organization we have showcased. There is much to admire in the progressive management practices that we found. Because practices that are good for older workers tend to be beneficial for younger ones as well, we hope that viewers of all ages will find valuable ideas in the interviews that follow.
NIH is the premier biomedical research enterprise in the world, and our mission is to support research that advances health and helps eliminate the burden of disease.
One buys into trying to improve the health of the nation.
The biggest contributor for NIH is the mission. There's nobody that you can find who hasn't been affected or had a family member affected by cancer or diabetes or mental health issues or arthritis or heart disease. And people come here because they can be part of finding a way to treat those diseases and finding a way to cure them. So people that come to NIH are wedded to the mission.
We at NIH seek talent in many, many different domains. We've sort of concentrated on scientists, but I have to tell you that our administrators, our technical staff, they are all our partners. And we are equally interested in recruiting people of all ages who are able to contribute to our mission in these various domains.
Evidence indicates that many of these workers want to be engaged in productive work. As advances in medicine and technology enable lifespans to increase, and as organizations find it ever more difficult to fill jobs that require advanced training or specialized skills, it's in the interest of both parties to find workable solutions.
As you know, science is built upon prior work and the prior experience of researchers who came before you. And so having a workforce over the age of 50 ensures that we have people who have deep experience in their areas of expertise. Additionally, we are all about mentoring the next generation of biomedical researchers, and who better to mentor people than persons over the age of 50.
We value the intellectual capital that the seasoned workforce brings. It's critical for NIH because we are truly in a learning environment. We're a research hospital. We have a variety of clinical fellows, research fellows that come to NIH, and we need individuals with levels of expertise and experience that they can help groom those individuals and expand their knowledge of the scientific and medical arena.
They're mentors and trainers of the next generation of scientists, and so we rely on their experience to relay what they know to those coming up behind them.
We have a dynamic workforce, and a workforce that have hundreds and thousands of individuals over the age of 50, all willing to put it on the line each day to get this mission accomplished. And I think it's a fantastic thing, and I think the younger generation benefits from all the experience that our workers over 50 have.
One of the reasons that we have such a large proportion of our scientists are over 50 is there's a very extended training period for biomedical researchers, and so you may be in your 30s before you're even finished with your training period. Many of our scientists here at NIH actually have long and productive careers outside of NIH before they come here. I don't think you should ever look at a person based on their chronological age. I think what you look at for a person is what they're contributing to your organization and what they have contributed and the potential for them to contribute.
The NIH, as you are aware, is all about research and discovery. That's our business. The capacity that we need for that mission is human talent. And human talent comes in all shapes, sizes, manners, and form. And so we value diversity as a tool for achieving our mission.
The National Institutes of Health, NIH, conducts and funds medical research in order to improve health. Its goal is to uncover new knowledge that will help prevent, detect, and treat disease and disability, from the common cold to the rarest genetic disorder. It also trains scientists and communicates medical and health services information to patients, their families, healthcare providers, and the general public. Part of the Department of Health and Human Services, NIH is the primary federal agency of the U.S. government that conducts and funds medical research. About 80% of the NIH budget supports research conducted outside the NIH by a community of more than 212,000 scientists who work at universities, medical schools, and other research facilities.
There's a lot of value to have in having older workers who really have a lot, again, institutional knowledge, a lot to offer in terms of experience and qualifications.
One avenue that we use is we have a relationship with various military installations, so specifically with the transition assistance centers. So what we do is we want to make sure that NIH is in the forefront of individuals' minds as they're beginning to think about their next career. We also target individuals in a passive manner through LinkedIn. We're able to understand what our hiring managers need, so we're able to actually kind of browse through the myriad of resumes and professional profiles that exist within LinkedIn, and we're able to send emails to individuals that we think possess the experience and skill set that we need to help advance the NIH mission. We have a lot of workplace flexibilities. We have telework, we have FlexiPlace. We allow individuals to adjust their work schedule so we can accommodate them. They can work part-time, they can work full-time. We have technology that even though they may not physically be here, they could push a button and be talking, in a sense, face-to-face virtually with someone anywhere around the world.
We have available to us an authority to allow us to do reemployed annuitants. It's bringing retirees back without any hit to their retirement pensions. These are people who are familiar with our organization, our laws, our authorities, the federal enterprise. They can hit the ground running.
Once you're over 50, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot. The new things are what excite you. So for workers over 50, finding challenges for them is what we really have to stress.
You could talk about workplace flexibility, for example, the idea that you can have a split schedule, and you can sell that to the younger people by you're able to go see your kid's soccer game, or if you have to take your child to the doctor, and that works well for the younger people. For the older worker, you can talk about if you have to take your mother or father for a doctor's appointment, things like that. So it's a matter of marketing the different benefits we have.
Employees know about some of the supports that we have, whether it's having a Zumba class or being able to go running in the middle of the day with other NIH employees, whether or not it's having a flexible work schedule. Employees like that they have these programs whether or not they use them, and it's really helpful when they can tell their colleagues about them. Well, it might not benefit them, it may benefit someone else they know.
There are also a variety of myths about older workers, that their performance deteriorates in most jobs, that they have higher health care costs, that they are slow learners, and that there is little return on investments in them. Yet some organizations make special efforts to recruit, support, and encourage older workers.
It's really important to have programs where you give people the opportunity to have graceful exits when it is time for people to retire. We have programs where we actually bring scientists back as emeritus, and they can come back and still dabble in the lab. That makes them feel wonderful. They can still be creative. They can still contribute to the knowledge base. We also have a lot of family-friendly policies here at NIH, so throughout your career, both when you're a young person, in your mid-career, and in your senior career, that you have an opportunity to have a balanced life, both inside and outside of the organization.
What we are doing is trying to put together programs that meet all of the needs of our diverse workforce. A lot of our researchers are the sandwich generation, and in fact, elder care is a part of their world. You look at your workforce, you look at what your workforce is doing in terms of its mission, and you build your programs for retention around those. It's love of what we do. People come here, they tend to stay.
The NIH has telework, and we promote that across the board. We also have alternative work schedules. We have backup dependent care for employees. We also have reemployed annuitants who have come back and special volunteers.
We have a backup care program. For me, if my father is in Florida and he's ill and his backup care provider can't come in, I can call the number, and they have people all over the country. So I can get somebody to come in Florida to take care of my dad.
NIH's in-house research program occupies the largest facility for medical research in the world, with 27 specialized research institutes and centers, including the National Institute on Aging and the National Cancer Institute. In short, the National Institutes of Health is the steward of medical and behavioral research for the nation. Its mission is science in pursuit of fundamental knowledge about the nature and behavior of living systems, and the application of that knowledge to extend healthy life and to reduce the burdens of illness and disability.
People are staying in place. Young people may not feel that there's that opportunity. So we do everything to allow young people also to break in and to work with the older scientists. And I think really that combination of the young scientists and the older scientists working together really promotes the whole scientific enterprise.
You need that blend. You need the blend of those that can make discovery happen at a very early age and those that have built careers in an area of science over many, many years.
We're not just pushing out this information to the public about exercising. We're taking our own best advice and encouraging our employees to do that. We're doing the same thing with our tobacco-free campus.
I think it's important not to stereotype certain generations. I think it's important to actually engage your individual employees. What are their values? What sort of skill sets can they bring to the organization? Once you engage in that conversation, you can have a better understanding of what motivates them and how to make them as productive as possible.
I had a young fellow who worked for me whose job was to be my intergenerational advisor. I would call him in and ask questions. You know, Dave, how would this work with the younger generation? How does it work with the millennials? I know how it works with the baby boomers, but give me advice on this. Mentoring is built into the scientific community, so every new scientist who comes here gets a mentor. It's part of our culture. We have intern programs as well that match younger, newer workers with more experienced, generally older workers.
Intergenerational conflict happens in the workplace, but here at the NIH, we've developed tools and programs to help manage those issues. One of the things that we've done recently is identified the need to do training on team science, which for maybe some of our older scientists is not the way they do science, but for the newer scientists it is.
We don't find that, you know, the older workers complaining, those over 50 complaining about those who right out of college. We don't find that. We find them really willing to get together. The older workers, those over 50, want to learn these new technologies from these young kids and are excited to have them come into the workforce.
This is how we grow as an organization. People with different opinions are the way we learn, are the way we improve, are the way we do things better. So if we have conflicts, we try to get people to work it out. We have an Office of the Ombudsman, our Center for Cooperative Resolution. It's a place people can go to get help with bridging sometimes generational gaps.
The NIH clearly recognizes the value of talent management. Indeed, both its mission and vision emphasize the importance of a partnership among the institutes and their human resource partners to meet the needs of employees. Workers over 50 are a very important part of the organizational strategy to meet the vision and mission of the NIH. The NIH has learned that investments in older workers are investments in the future of the organization. Creativity, innovation, and insights in science build from a foundation of experience. Older workers provide this foundation for younger scientists to build on. Two-way mentoring between these groups of older and younger scientists has resulted in some truly breakthrough medical discoveries in our time that have come from
this notion that older workers don't like to telework. Well, how do you know that unless you offer the program to them? Maybe they have a long commute and teleworking would be wonderful for them. Maybe they have elder care issues at home again, and so teleworking 2 days a week would really benefit them. So not pigeonholing employees into thinking that they don't like this because they're of a particular generation is really not a good way to look at the situation.
A common myth about people over the age of 50 is that you can't teach them anything new, or that, you know, they want to do one thing one way all the time. Here, totally opposite is my experience, that really they're eager to learn. They're eager to just do something new. That's what is so great about this place.
One common myth that I've seen in the workplace is that some employees feel that older workers can't adapt to the work environment. They're not creative or they're not innovative. What I've seen in the workplace is that workers at that level have a lot of institutional knowledge. They have a lot to bring to the table.
People in their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th decade can be incredibly creative, incredibly innovative. The other piece that people need to appreciate is that it's a long road to become a practicing scientist, and so people in our profession tend not to be independent in their career until late 30s, early 40s.
The NIH excels in recruiting and retaining workers over 50 by making it easy and enjoyable for these workers to do what they love to do. NIH makes it easy for older workers to remain engaged through innovative programs such as workplace flexibility, alternative work arrangements, a variety of choices for transitions into retirement, second career opportunities, mentorships, health and wellness programs, and development opportunities. These efforts have led to highly successful recruitment campaigns and an extremely impressive retention record among older workers. Of course, none of this could happen without the support of senior leaders, coupled with a culture that supports a diverse employee workforce.
Our Human Resources Department has been very creative and innovative, flexible work schedules, the use of telework, on-site activities for exercise and fitness and wellness, all of these which are accessed by all of our workforce, but in particular many folks 50 and beyond find these particularly helpful.
In one of our organizations, people don't have to have an office, so they'll share an office. We call it hoteling. It saves on space, it saves on rent. The other benefit is for employees, again, you can schedule your life around your telework. If you have a doctor's appointment in the morning and you live an hour from here, you go to your doctor's appointment, then you can telework the rest of the day. Combine that with a flexible schedule and the business of NIH gets done, as well as the benefit to the employee. The flip side for NIH is if you are an employee who's teleworking regularly, when the snowstorm comes up, you've also got the ability to telework and keep NIH running, and that's real important. HR is the linchpin for what we do at NIH in terms of attracting and then keeping our over 50 people.
Here are 5 lessons that any organization can apply from NIH's experience. 1. The culture and mission of an organization must be consistent with its practices. Practices that support older workers are unlikely to be successful if the culture does not support them. 2. Practices that support a particular population, such as those over age 50, should also support other groups of employees. NIH has learned, and published research has shown, that even if all employees don't use a particular benefit, knowing that the benefit is available to them is just as important as actually using it. 3. Don't let myths about older workers drive the assumptions you make or the programs you develop. For example, NIH learned that assuming you can't teach an old dog new tricks is absolutely false. Conversely, it found that older workers craved changes and challenges to keep them fresh and motivated. 4. Although older workers staying longer in their jobs might seem to slow down the career progression of younger workers, this does not have to be the case. NIH found that by having older workers mentor younger workers and having younger workers mentor older workers, it experienced a higher level of engagement and scientific discovery that led to greater opportunities for younger workers. 5. Don't assume that all employees in any group, including those over age 50, have identical needs. NIH used regular surveys to identify employee needs, but it also tailored programs to meet the needs of highly talented older workers. For example, it created an emeritus program to bring back retired, highly talented workers to meet specific critical needs. Over the years, NIH has developed a culture that embraces diversity, mentoring, and understanding of the unique needs of all its employees. This is a culture that pervades NIH and that its leaders model every day. You have heard from a number of NIH leaders, and I'm sure you could hear and see their passion and dedication to the work and to the culture they have built at NIH. They have set a high standard for nurturing older workers and thereby boosting overall performance at NIH. Its exemplary practices and culture should be an inspiration and a call to action for managers everywhere as they prepare to deal with the challenges and opportunities of an aging population of workers.